All right. Salaki for that. All right, let's clap it up. Shalom, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah, Barakathum to all the brothers. Shalom, Yahweh Shabbat, Bashem, Yahweh Shah, all the sisters. Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started at 1 West 125th Street, Halden, New York, under commanding General Yohanan. The Friday Night Lashawan Qadash class, we break down the scriptures from a linguistic perspective. I mean, we teach the truthful according to the Bible since 1969 to Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, so that we can get our culture back, so that we can get, our oppressors' customs out of us, and our oppressors, get our oppressors' customs and mannerisms and all those different things out of us. Through these scriptures. So we go into scriptures and learn what we should be eating rather than eating what your oppressor tells you to eat. What we celebrate rather than celebrating your oppressor's holidays. And a big component to learning your culture is the language as well. So, we learn in our culture what we eat, what we don't eat, who we sleep with, who we don't sleep with, how we handle certain situations, how we don't handle certain situations. And, we need to learn this language as well. So that we can get our person's language out of our mouths. All right. So with that, you got any questions, comments, or anything like that? Go ahead and put it in the chat or raise that hand. Lashawan Qadash, really any class is a high participation class. But Lashawan Qadash can be really interactive. So if you got any questions, comments, or whatever the case is, and being interactive with the language helps you learn the language as well. I could sit up here and talk, read, and babble all day, and it's not going to register as well as if you participate and you interact with the language. You read it, you speak it. That's how language is learned. That's how language is used. You speak it. That's the intention behind it. So you're gonna sell yourself short if you don't participate. All right. I didn't see any questions from last week. Usually I would start with the questions and address anything that I missed or whatever I couldn't hit in the chat, or if I had anything from last class that I needed to get broken down, I would bring it to class, but I didn't see anything in the chat. So we just gonna move forward. All right, so past couple of weeks we've been talking about the Lashawan Qadash alphabet, how important it is to know it from out of thought, be able to say it off the top of your head. All right, so you should be able to know the Lashawan Qadash alphabet from out of thought, from the top of your head, for a lot of different reasons. All right, if you're using the dictionary, the Lashawan Qadash alphabet is going to be alphabetized, just like the English dictionary. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it's going to be Abba, Gada, Hawaza. And to be able to find the word that you're looking for in a concordance, you're going to have to know the Lashawan Qadash alphabet. Otherwise, you're going to, be fumbling and stumbling, and it's going to be more tedious if you don't do the work. All right. So Abagada Hawaza Khata Yaka Lama Nasa I Pataza Kwa Rashata. Simple. All you gotta do is just spend a couple days, or slightly not a couple days, a couple minutes out of your day, maybe like 2 or 3 minutes out of your day, just to get it down. Quiz yourself. Just read it. Abagada Hawaza Khata Yaka Lama Nasa I, and then close your notes, and then see if you could repeat it. And wherever you get tripped up or stumble up, or wherever you forget, you just go back and you just hone in on that. Like, okay, I forgot this. You hone in on it. And then you do it again. But that's just my suggestion to you. That's not, you know what I mean? If that's not your style of learning, no sweat. Point is, as long as you put in the effort to learn, all right? So, if you're at home, practice the Lashawan Qadash alphabet, quiz yourself. You know what I mean? If you're not where you need to be, then start there. You know what I mean? That's how you measure your progress. But you have to be practicing to be able to measure your progress. All right? You want to give it a shot again? I think last time you stopped at Zah.
I haven't been overeating like I supposed to.
You can just give it a shot anyway, and then where you stop at.
Abagada wa za ka ka ta here's where I start at. Is it Abagad? Yeah, Abagad wa yeah, ka. That's it. Ta yeah. I'm still halfway.
Yeah, you got a little bit more. It sounds like a little bit more.
I'm on time. Yeah.
And but in the beginning, you also missed one. Ha.
Abagaya wa.
I think you said Abagada wa. Or yeah, it is ha wa za. But I mean, I could be.
Abaga ha wa. If I say Abaga wa. Ha wa. So, yeah.
And as long as you just like you know where to start at then. Like you know what I mean, you know what you missed, you know where you where it started to get a little, I mean, your memory started to get a little hazy on it, and then that's where you just pick up on it. But knowing that off the top of your head is gonna make it easier to just use the resources. So like when we get to using a dictionary, which happens often, like if you got the if you want to just know what a word is, or just confirm, like, okay, a word is here. Why is it used in this way? And you just look it up in the dictionary, see how it's used. But for whatever reason, you use the dictionary, knowing the Lashawan Qadash alphabet is gonna keep you from running to any stumbling blocks. Because you trying to use the dictionary, but then the alphabet is still, you know what I mean, difficult to memorize. So now it's like you stumble over the alphabet, and then eventually, like you'll end up not even using the dictionary like you intended because you ran into the alphabet problem. And remember too, like what made it easy for me is that alphabet song. I just put it to the English alphabet song, but replace the English characters with Hebrew characters. So Abagada Hawaza Kata Yaka Lama Nasa I Pataza Kwa Rashata Pataza Kwa Rashata. Then now I know my ABC. Next time what you say.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that one though. That Lama Nasa I.
Yeah. That's what helped me. That's what helped me. And that, like, just doing it to the song, like it didn't even take me long. Like it just took me like a day or two because I put it to the song that I already know. Let's see. All right, so went over the alphabet. We're gonna kind of do some review today. Because again, like we've gone to the scriptures and we're doing an excellent job. You know what I mean? Brothers are doing an excellent job reading it, breaking the things down, breaking these concepts down. But when we go back to the foundation, it'll make the rest of it easy. Like it'll make reading it easier. And we're gonna get into it tonight. But knowing the foundation, revisiting the foundation, it's gonna make, you know what I mean, learning the more complicated concepts or the lesser, you know what I mean, the lesser seen, lesser known concepts. It's gonna make reading that so much easier because you got the foundation. So tonight, okay, so like we just went over the alphabet. Just knowing the alphabet as well, just off of sight too. So like saying it is one thing, but like being able to see it and identify it, that's the foundation. And knowing the foundation, being able to identify it is going to help you read it because you can't read without being able to identify the character. And then also, you know what I mean, root words. Like we're gonna go over. Well, first we're gonna go over the prepositions and possessors again. That's gonna make it easier. You see these prepositions and possessors, and you get familiar with them in your notes. Then once you go into the scriptures and read it, then it's gonna make it so much easier. Like it's gonna be, you already know where the preposition is gonna be, what the prepositions mean, where the possessors are, what the possessors mean, the tenses, and so on and so forth. You already know what they mean when you see them, so it'll just make everything easier. And then also we're gonna go over the pictographs. We didn't. It's been a while since we went over them. I don't think we. It's been a while since we went over them, so I mean, just to refresh brothers' memories, or you know, what I mean, if you've never been in class while we went over the pictographs, then we'll just go over them again, and then these are gonna add some. It's gonna help you be able to identify the characters, knowing that there's a pictograph associated with it. And then B is going to help you be able to identify, or did I already say that? Identify? It's going to help you identify, and then also it's going to help you, it's going to give you root words to build your vocabulary as well. So you know the word that's associated with the pictograph, then you know a new word. And some of them have two of them related to it. So, I mean, from then you just building your vocabulary. So now when you see these words in the scriptures, you don't have to try to fumble through them. You just can identify it off sight because you're familiar with the sight word or you're familiar with the root word. All right, so. All right. I have another. All right, so prepositions. All right. So going from a to ta, right? So prepositions, as we know, go before the root word. All right. Come before the root word. All right. So right? That's the first character of the alphabet. Means what? According to our notes, according to just memory off the top of our head. And brothers and sisters watching online, you can still. I probably won't be able to see the chat, but until later. But you can still participate just to show, you know what I mean, that you know what I mean, here, and so that you can learn the language. Cool. As a preposition means y'all just don't remember? Y'all waiting on.
Oh, God, I didn't even just one. What's the question? I.
Yeah, I is a preposition.
I mean, I.
Con. I am. Right. And then the next character, ba. Right.
Come.
Ba is.
Ba is in. On.
In. On. Ba Hashem. In the name. Right. Ba Bakwasha. In request. Right. And so on and so forth. Ga. I got a preposition associated with it. La. Da. That'll be the next one. Meaning what?
Oh, I mean, do or make.
Do or make. Right? That's going to be one of the ones that you hardly see, but it is important for you to know. It's all of these are important for you to know, but it's a couple of these that you won't see as often, right? God's one of them, but you do see it though. Like when I'll read the scripture sometimes in the Hebrew, and I'll see it and I'll be surprised. I'm like, oh dang, I knew that this would have meant, but you hardly see it in action. But it's important for you to know that, because if you just scrap it, or you know what I mean, because you don't see it often, you might just not have your mind on it, and then when you see it, you'll you know what I mean, you won't recognize it, and then that's where you start to stumble on things. So Abba, Gada, Ha, right? Ha means what?
I mean, the.
God. Both of y'all correct. The. Again, Ba Ha Shem. Ba in Ha the. Shem name. Right? And that's like when you see brother's name as well, likely, not all the time, but likely, very, very likely. If you look at a brother's name and you see it starts with a Ha, 9 times out of 10, their name is the root word. Like the followed by root word. So Ha Bana. The builder. Bana means to build. Right? Khan. Perfect example. General Ha Zayan. The weapon. And that's going to be one of our pictograph words as well. We're going to get to it though. But Za is represented by, the pictograph is a weapon. You know what I mean? Zayan. That's the word that's associated with that pictograph. Zayan. All right? Ha Zayan. What else? You get the point. Abba Gada Ha Wa. Meaning
I mean,
and. You got a mic back there? Or you you don't want a mic?
I'm afraid my head like some.
Okay, no sorry, no problem. What is it? Why is and? All right. I was gonna say something, but why is gonna be one of those. This is one that's used very, very, very often. So why is real common. You know what I mean, it's something that we will be real familiar with. And the ones I'm underlining is ones that you use common. All right. Man, I was gonna say something. Abagada, Hawa, Za, Khan, for what? Ya. Ya meaning what?
That'll be calling he or his.
Absolutely. And that's another one too. That's another one that if you see it in a brother's name, likely if you see it in a brother's name, not all the time, because there's a lot of root words that start with Yah. So it's not as likely as the Ha, but it's the same concept. You see a lot of brothers with a Yah in front of their name, 9 times out of 10, it's his, he, his, or it, followed by a root word. So Christ's name, Yah Hawashai. You read in the Lord's Prayer, Hawashai Noah Mayan Ra, which means deliver us. Hawashai Noah, right? Which is a possessive. Noah is a possessive that means us. So deliver Hawashai Noah, deliver us. So you put a Yah in front of that, it becomes Yah Hawashai. So with that being said, what does Yah Hawashai mean? Like just a very direct translation. What you got, Bruce? You want some? I'll get you. Mike.
Doesn't mean he is the deliverer.
Khan.
He
Or,
is the deliverer.
Khan. Or direct translation, he delivers. He delivers. Yah meaning he. Hawashai, no, or it's like Hawashai means deliver. He delivers. Right? The Most High Christ. Excellent. Who else? Cap. What's up?
No, I would like to say question for Cap. Cap name starts with okay, I would like to say a question. For Cap name starts with Yah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. Let me see. Yeah.
Yah is that.
Oh, La.
No.
La. No. It's like okay, not all the time. Like the Yah. There's a lot of root words. There's a lot of root words that start with Yah. So his name is just the root word that means firm. And you'll know it because the translation will have he in it. Like I was gonna say Cap Yashamar. I don't think you've met him, but Cap Yashamar in Dallas. His name is we know Shamar means what? Not white. Not quite protect. I already know you know.
I know you know Shamar. I know what Shamar is, but I don't like exact definition you're looking for. I don't know the exact definition you're looking for.
It's watch.
Watch. Only come to watch. So.
Watch. So Yah Shamar means
He watch or what?
yeah. It's that simple. He watches. Brother in Houston, Yah Bakan. Bakan means tested or test. Yah Bakan means he is tested. But now, usually, like so you a lot of times when you see a brother's name with a Yah in front of it, it usually means he or his something. Yah, what's his name out of North Carolina? Hey, Yah Ramat. Yah Ramat. There's also a brother named Ramat in the school. Ramat means javelin. Yah Ramat means his javelin. All right. So, okay, what's next? And I know I'm just putting this up here real quick for the sake of space, but in your notes you should, for the sake of practice and reference, for your personal reference, I would advise brothers to write down the Hebrew characters as well. The Hebrew characters in both if you can, in both the ancient and the Assyrian, so that you can identify it. But I'm just putting the phonetic spelling, the English transliteration, just for quick reference. I mean, just for your quick reference. All right. But all of these things that I got up here, first of all, this should, I mean, I'm just putting it back up here. But all of these should already be in your notes. But that's what I advise. But what did we just say? Oh, the next one is ka, which means
like or as.
Like or as. Ka. Right. That's gonna be one of the ones that you use a lot, right? Gonna use it a lot. All right. Tatayaka La. All right. La means two or four. So La Yasharala, two or four Israel. Right? It's up on the board. La Yasharala, two Israel. All right. Tatayaka La Ma. All right. Salaki. Make sure y'all can see that. Ma. Ma means oh, or select. Go ahead.
Kind of mean of or from.
Come. Of, from. All right. And this one right here is used commonly, but what you want to remember about this one is, but before I give it away, you remember about this one, the ma, and how it functions differently from the rest of the characters.
I think ma could be used, like I said, a preposition that before the root word.
Uh-huh.
Also could be as a possessor, or also as like a third. I know what I'm saying. Or no? As a plural.
La, of la. Okay, so the ma as a preposition, and I ask because it's something that you want to remember, because it'll trip you up. But knowing this, knowing like how this ma functions, and there's another character that functions the same way. We're gonna get to it. But knowing how this functions, it's gonna help you understand what's being said.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It builds a new word. So like yum, right? Yum means sea. Yum means sea. Ma yum means, if yum means sea, what does ma mean? Over from, right?
Oh, from the sea.
Yeah, from the sea. What comes from the sea?
Fish.
You right.
What do you mean, like different? I know answer.
Or of the sea. That's probably a better
Obviously.
of the sea. What's of the sea? What is the sea made of?
Oh yeah, water.
So mayam means
Water.
uh,
So my name.
so that's how that ma works. You add it to a root word and it creates another word. And you'll see that a lot. Like shapat, judge, ma shapat, judgment. Tazabak, I believe, is altar or sacrifice to Lakia. Ma Tazabak is altar because the sacrifices is done on the altar. Right? That's how that ma works. All right. You want to just memorize that because you're going to see it a lot in the scriptures. You're going to see it during Sabbath service, and it's going to help you not get tripped up. All right. Lava, nah. All right. Let's talk about this nah. All right. Nah. Because nah isn't a preposition. It's not a preposition, but I do want to put it up here. How can I do this? You remember what we was talking about regarding the not?
Preposition.
Well, it's not a preposition, but it's important. Or maybe I shouldn't put it up there with the preposition, just to avoid confusion. But it's important though. I'll give you this: a root word starting with not. We kind of ran into
Yeah,
it.
you ran into it. It's like this, man. I know we ran into it. We talked about it. Stuff like that.
So I'm gonna do this. So Nathan, Nathan,
Let's give.
give, Most High Christ. Now, if you add a ma, which makes it from, of, or from, right?
Mm-hmm.
You add a ma to the beginning. Yeah, that na drops off and is replaced by the preposition. So na is not a preposition, but it functions differently. All right, so that na disappears and it goes from nothing to muthun, which is gift or waste, like of a woman. Because you got a woman with a waist, you got yourself a gift. You know what I mean? But and then you do the same thing with the ya. Ya means what?
Mm-hmm.
He. So he or ya means he. Nathan means give. So the direct translation is he give. Now, if you give something, then well, I'll just go ahead and say it. The word that's made now from adding the ya is to allow or to permit. So if I allow you to do something, I give you permission. Or he gives, or to allow. All right. But that's how that works. So you add a ya to it, to the beginning. That na goes off and it goes from nothing to yuthan, which means to allow. All right. But that's how that na works. That's just a. What you think? Should I put it up here with the prepositions, or is that gonna be confusing?
Maybe so. I'll probably put on this since we're over it, since you're going over it right now. I'm gonna put it on there.
Okay.
It's- I forgot about it.
It's a and it's one of those things that it kind of it'll trip you up because what we do is we use the 4 steps, right? And if you don't know what a phrase is, the first thing you should do is what?
The root word,
Right. And how would you look for the root word?
eliminating the preposition. The preposition.
Con.
Yeah.
And what's the easiest way to do that? To eliminate the preposition and possessives and everything attached to it. What's the easiest way to do?
Easy way to do it.
Yeah, the easiest way to isolate the root word and to
First, you gotta know your preposition and know what the root word is.
I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna help you out. Click the support is code.
Oh, you thinking something like that? I'm just thinking.
Oh,
It's like this. I'm just thinking when I'm reading, I'm not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not got time to hit on the recording while I'm
Yeah.
on the Sabbath.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, you hit the recording.
Yeah, you hit that concordance code, it's gonna eliminate everything. Sometimes, so like you get in the habit of doing that, and you're gonna click the concordance code, it's gonna take the preposition and the possessive and any tenses off of it. But sometimes you'll click that concordance code, like if you saw Mathun in the scriptures, you click that concordance code and you see the root word is nothing. So it's like, what the hell? Like, then you start to think, okay, this isn't working. So to keep from the only reason why you would think that that's not working, because that works every single time. But the only reason why you would get discouraged if you're not familiar with this nine, how it works. And also, the Yah works in a similar way. So I'm gonna put the double, you know what I mean by it. But the Yah works in a similar way. I think we ran into that last time in class as well.
Probably bring it up. I remember when I read the Acts of Section, when I read, that one was, I know in chapter 14. I know he brought it up because I read it. You couldn't read it as what it is, but when you look at the root word, then you got, I think it changed it to not.
Come.
I forgot what word it was.
I think it was Nathan.
It was Nathan?
Come. I think it was Nathan. Or no, it was I know what you're talking about. I can't remember the word though.
Yeah.
But it's a word that means like to strike or something.
Yeah, kind.
Or attack or something like that.
It was attack. There you go. Kind. So it was that.
But it did the same thing though. It did the exact same thing. And it happened a couple times in that verse that you was reading. But if you don't understand this concept, then that's gonna look real foreign to you, and then you're just gonna be confused. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, like brothers getting confused or like, you know what I mean, things like that. If you a younger brother, like especially if you're new to it, like you already know that if you confused on a concept, you should do what? If you don't understand something that you're reading, you should.
Ask a question.
Just ask the question. But a brother that's like young in the truth, not so zealous, you know what I mean, you mess around and read it and then get discouraged because how you thought it functioned ain't the way it's functioning. And then you get confused. And if that brother don't ask, you know what I mean, then, he just gonna give up. But, and that's just, I mean, that's neither, you know what I mean, that's on that brother. But still though, you know what I mean, just not understanding this part, it will kind of have you discouraged. And I know it's a lot of brothers kind of like, they get kind of discouraged from the Hebrew. You know what I mean? They get discouraged from learning the language because they're so, to them, like, especially if it's something new, a new concept or something like a new language that you learn, it's tedious. So you kind of get discouraged. You got real life responsibilities and things like that going on around. You got to go to slave. So brother might get discouraged and just put the Hebrew down in general. And that's out the spirit. You know what I mean? So to keep you from, you know what I mean, getting out the spirit, keep you in the spirit, learning your culture so that you can teach it. You know what I mean? Like the scriptures say, be apt to teach. You know what I mean? You want to understand this, and if you don't understand something, just ask the question so you can understand it. Right? But the Nav functions in that way, and the Yah functions in that way sometimes as well. I think, well, I won't say which one. I won't say which one is most common, but yeah, both of them kind of function in the same way. But oh yeah, Manasa I Pa Tiva Wa Ra Sha. All right, Sha. Sha means what?
Don't try to meet which or pertain.
Which you're pertaining to, and also the Sha works in a similar way as the Ma. So I'll use that same example that we used earlier. Yum, right? Yum is sea, right? Ma, yum is of the sea or water. Now you add sha to the beginning of the word shamayim, which means pertaining to, pertains to water, or Shemaiah means heavens, right? Or it's built off of this root. You add this preposition to this root word, pertains to water. The heavens pertains to water because of the similar, it's like a similar quality, right? So you look at the gear that you use for space exploration. It's similar gear to deep sea diving gear. You know what I mean? The weightlessness of water. You feel that same weightlessness in space. The properties pertain to water in the heavens, which is what Shemaiah means. You know what I mean? You can't breathe in, you know what I mean, outside this atmosphere, right? In the heavens. You can't breathe because there's no oxygen out there. Similar or pertains to the properties of water. You can't breathe underwater. So that's how that word is built. And you add the sha to the beginning of a root word, it just creates a new root word. All right. You about to say something?
So we can make it. I can make a sentence. Well, I make a sentence. I can make a word or a phrase just by adding a preposition to the beginning of it.
Come. What is that? We got Rasha Tha. Okay. Tha. Tha, the last one. All right. Tha. It's a preposition, right? Meaning what?
Meaning the or thou, the
Right. Or modern English, you. All right. Now this one, how can I say this? Tha, okay, simply put, tha is a preposition. But you might see tha in a lot of different places in a word. You might see it in the beginning of a word. You might see it after like the word ata. Ata is the formal way to say you. Like when we say Yahweh Shem Yahweh Barak Ata, Ata is I to you. Ata. I'm saluting you. From me to you. It's a formal, you know what I mean? It's a formal way to say you. But you might see it following a preposition. Right? So it's a preposition, but it'll come second. Or it might just it'll be in a root word like a the, and you know what I mean? It'll be attached to a preposition to make a root word. Or you might see it at the end. Right? You might see it at the end. Like when you see tha at the end, if it's not a tense, meaning categories, if it's not used as a tense to make something servile tense, if you see it at the end, it means you. When it's used at the end of a root word, it's how you conjugate a word, for lack of and we're gonna get to it, but that's why I had those words on there, because all of those different words, like ata, anya means me, ata means you, a thumb means y'all, hum means them, nawal means us, right? When you want to say each of those words got a conjugation to it, whether you're using past, present, or future, right? if you wanted to say, if you wanted to take a verb, right? Like shamar, for example. Shamar means watch. You want to say, you watch. You would say, or you will watch. For example, for future tense, you wanted to say future tense, right? It would be atha, you, shamar, tha. So that tha will be at the end to conjugate that word in its proper tense. So when you conjugate in a root word in past, present, or future tense, in this case I'm using future tense, but you conjugate the word to put it in its proper tense, then you will put that tha at the end. So to say you watch or you will watch, it'll be atha, shamar, tha. Right? We'll use another example. If you say, what's another one? And I'm just, this ain't got nothing to do with this. I just want to give another real quick. Yeah, what's the they, right? So they is home. So home. So I believe I gotta make sure I gotta double check my notes on this one. I got it. But I just want to make sure I'm correct on this. But if you want to say they will watch, it'll be hum, shamar, hum. I believe. Let me double check. That I don't know. That don't sound right. Let me just, before I say anything else, I'm gonna just make sure. But I said all that to say I don't want to get too far off topic. Let me do something. I don't want to get too far off topic. I sure. Salakia. Future tense. All right, here we go. All right. Okay, Salakia. Future tense, you add the thought to the beginning. So to say, or you will watch, it'll be atha, tha shamar. Right? In past tense, it'll go on the end. So if you wanted to say you watched, it's atha shamar tha. We double check. Yeah. So at the end, to say past tense, it will be atha shamar tha. All right. Let me see. Same with y'all. So if I say, so if you watch is shamar tha, then how do you say y'all watch? So you watch is shamar tha. How would you say y'all watch? So
I would say atum, shamar. Okay, y'all watch. So atum, shamar. I don't know if it would be a bar again. Shamar.
How do you say y'all?
Atum.
So
I say it again. Should be atum, shamar, atum.
Shamar thumb.
Or shamar thumb.
Yeah.
So
it won't be
shamar thumb.
Shamar thumb. So not a thumb. Shamar thumb.
So I start over atum, shamar, thumb.
That's how you would conjugate that word. And I'm saying that because that's why you'll see this tha all over the place. So it'll be at the beginning where it's supposed to be as a preposition. It could be at the end, and it means the you, but it could confuse you if you see it at the end. So that's why we're gonna go through it like a detailed lesson on this topic. Is right here. I'll just write it on the board. I'll probably do it next week because I keep on mentioning it. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and do it next week.
So we're making it plural. Gotcha.
So,
so when we add at the end, we got to understand at that time is plural.
and you'll see it like it'll help you like kind of comb through, because a lot of times like we'll see this concept that we just broke down. We'll see it in the scriptures, but we won't know how to pronounce it because it's not a concept we're familiar with. Like we're not confused. We're not familiar with conjugations.
And so like yum makes stuff plural too, right? Yeah. So yum, I got you.
Yeah, it makes it plural, but the thumb is just making it. It's showing you as the reader that this word pertains to y'all. That I'm talking to y'all. So everything that's like they'll like at the beginning of the sentence or the thought, I guess it'll start off with a thumb. Like it'll say to identify who we're talking to. So it'll say a thumb. So now it's established I'm talking to y'all. And then every verb after that will have this conjugation behind it. So y'all, shamarthum. Every word will, or every verb that pertains to y'all will have thumb behind it to indicate that I'm talking to y'all and what y'all will do. Like it happened a lot. It happened a lot when what happened? Who was it? It was we just read it. I forget what happened. Who was it? I think it was a sister though. It was a sister talking about what she will do. She was like, I'm gonna do this. And I think it was when we was reading about before we started over, when we was reading about what's her name? Rachel and Leah. And they was using, basically they was trying to use not use, I don't want to say use, but they was kind of using the having kids to get Jacob's attention. So one sister was like, I'll do this and then Jacob will be with me. I'll do this and then I'll do this and then I'll do this and then this is gonna make Jacob, like she said, I will do this. So that conjugation is there a lot. So when you read it and you're not familiar with those conjugations, then you'll just kind of read it like you won't know how to pronounce it because you're not familiar with it. But if you realize what's going on, like, okay, she's saying I will. She's going to make something happen. Then you see that change in the you'll see that change in the dialogue, in the language and how the characters are used, and you'll be able to recognize it. And because you recognize it, you'll be able to pronounce it. And then once you're able to recognize it and pronounce it, then you can teach other brothers. Like, this is how you say this instead of like how you usually say it. You say it like this because of this concept, right? But I just wanted to point that out again. Next week, I'll probably, since it comes up so much in the scriptures, we need to know it. So I'll probably next week I'll get on the board and write it on the board so that we can have it. But I just wanted to point that part out because that tha, it pops up everywhere. Like it'll be in the beginning, it'll be in the middle, it'll be at the end, and it means you. And it could kind of trip brothers up. They're like, okay, tha, I thought tha was a preposition, but it's at the end. Why? You know what I mean? But you know why, because it'll be used as a conjugation if it's at the end. But Salaki. But yeah, that's the last preposition. All right. All right, next week I'm gonna do the possessive next week. I kind of want to get off of this topic, and I want to get into the pictographs. All right, so next week we'll go into next week we'll go into the what's it called, the possessives, and then we'll go into the conjugations. All right. So back. All right. All right, I'll be right back. Sloppy. Sloppy, please come on the phone. Get some more of that ice.
Yeah. It's morning.
Huh. Now it's only a little bit. I don't want to take off. Right?
No, you good. Yeah, you good.
Get right back. All right. Now, these words right here, right? All right, so these words right here. These are all the words that we use during Sabbath service. We've been up here. These should be words that we pretty solid on. You know what I mean? So, Imandim, which means to stand, and then Yeshabium, which means to sit. All right. If you don't got them in your notes, you know what I mean, you probably, if you watching online and you didn't get a chance to write it down, just rewind the video, pause it, take a screenshot, write it down because you're gonna need them. Because if you come to Sabbath service, you'll learn these words pretty fast. But you know what I mean, if you're pretty new to it, and I can see them people's faces, like when they come to Sabbath service and they hear it speaking Hebrew, they get freaked out. They be like, "What the hell?" And then we get to saying, the Lord's Prayer. I don't know, Shabbat Shabbat, and everybody yelling. I be seeing it in their face. They be freaked the hell out. Yeah, and then and that's crazy. That's heavy because that's exactly what they think. Not even realizing that tongues is languages. We're just speaking a different language. Like people who speak Spanish are speaking in tongues. You know what I mean? But then we send up them curses. It's like, oh hell no. They just ain't got the spirit for it. You know what I mean? We end up not seeing them again. But not knowing these words will have you, you know what I mean, just confused. And you want to, you know what I mean, Sabbath service, it could be tedious. It could be a tedious class if you don't know what's going on. If you're not making an effort to know what's going on. It's tedious. It's like, when the hell, it's like Sunday church. When the hell this over? You know what I mean? If you don't know your culture, if you don't know why we're doing this, if you don't know the language, if you're not interested in learning the language, if you don't know what we're saying, you know what I mean? Sar means the turn. You know what I mean? Sar, wapanya, aquadum. Sar means the turn. Wapanya means and face, like we just went over. Wa means and. Panya means face. So sar, wapanya, turn and face. Right? Ha, quadum. Ha, again, preposition, means the. Quadum means east. Quadum. Right? The east. Which is why Quadawom, I know you remember, bro. Quadawom Taza'ai. Oh, yeah, I go. Means forward, Quadawom, or easting. Because east in our culture is forward.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you turn and face the east, you're facing forward, right? Okay, what was it? Sarwak Hakwadon, turn and face the east. Shapar is the horn. So you hear a brother blow the horn. Shapar, not to be confused with Sapar, right? Shapar is horn with a shot at the beginning. Sapar is Salaki. Book. Sapar, book. Right? In the prayers, when we pray for the Lord to bless us, right? It's and the school. Waha Bayat Saparium. Right? Bayat means house. We're gonna get into these pictographs and it's gonna be the Ba, right? But Salakia. Bayat means house. Saparium is Sapar is book, Saparium is books. So the word for school is Bayat Saparium or house of books. Right? But that's not to be confused with Shapar, which is the horn. All right. Laya Sharaba, you know what I mean? That just means to Israel. When a brother drinks the wine, he says Laya Shala, you know what I mean? Wine, Yayun. All right. That's the officer Yahadi. You know what I mean? And then this one that be catching bodies right here. Yad, this one be having brothers in a chokehold, boy. Yeah, Yad Yum. Yad Yum Matah. Oh, yeah, that Yad Yum be having brothers choked up. Yad Yum Matah. It's not Yazam Matah. I know it's comfortable because we like kids. We're just kids repeating what we hear our parents say. So, you know what I mean? They say it, you know what I mean? They say it so often. They might say Yazamata. You know what I mean? Just saying it quick. If we hear Yazamata. So us being children, we want to repeat Yazamata. That's not correct. Yadyamata. It's like you was about to say something?
Okay, so when we say Barak, when we say Barak, so we do to give the salute. When we're done with it, Yad Yamata.
Which means hands down. So put your hands up when you barak, then hands down when you're done. Yaza don't mean nothing. It doesn't mean anything. At least to my knowledge. Yaza, I don't know if that's a word. I don't think that's a word. Right? So you're not saying anything. You say Yaza Matai, you're not saying anything. We know what you're trying to say, but you're not saying what you're trying to say. Huh?
That's somebody I probably would say, I'd be messing up. I'd be messing up with my when I was messing up that Tazah and I'd be saying Torah.
The point of a language is to be understood, right? So you don't want to say anything that you don't mean, or mean to say something and then don't say what you mean. Like there's a lot of like you mentioned like what you just mentioned just now was dialect. Like you know what I mean? A lot of times, like it's a fine line between mispronouncing your language and just having a dialect. Like I noticed, like the brother Officer Parata's out of headquarters, he rolls his R's. So when he says Barak, he says Barak. Yeah, he'll roll the hell out of that R. He'll roll, you know what I mean? He'll roll the hell out of that R. So that's just his dialect that he speaks the Hebrew with. But just like people who speak Spanish, they roll they'll speak English, but they'll roll their R's in English. It's just the dialect because they speak a different language. But, you know what I mean? A lot of times when brothers say Yazamata, it's just a mispronunciation because we mishear it. And that's usually how language is passed down orally. It starts off orally. You know what I mean? You pass it down orally and then you write it. And then you speak it and then you write it. But that's where brothers get that from. Just we passing the language down orally. I just learned recently, like Baba Kusha. Like I thought Baba Kusha just means please, because that's how we use it, and it does mean please. But the direct translation is Ba Kusha. That's the direct translation. Ba enter on right? In Bakwash means
Baba
Well,
Quash.
that's how we go to Quash.
brothers. I don't know where brothers get that from.
Well, Quashman.
Yeah, well, brothers be
Baba
like
Kasha?
Baba Quash, Baba Quasha.
Quash.
Baba Quasha.
Yeah, where brothers get that from? I've been hearing that.
I don't know. I got it from my girl.
Ba
Papa Quash.
I wrote that down too. Let's see what's going on.
but, and I'm separating it for teaching purposes. It's you don't have to separate it when you say it. It's Baba Kusha, right? You're saying it right, but I'm just separating it for teaching purposes. So, Ba means what?
In.
In, right? Bakwash. Bakwash is the root word. Now I'm gonna skip the root word for now. If Bakwash is the root word, that Ha means, what does the Ha do for a root word? What does the Ha do? Oh. Yeah, Ha at the end of a word.
We're making what's it? Serve.
It's just so it's a root word with a servile tense at the end. So you say you remember what Bakwash means?
Yeah, I really common God. I think don't mean quest.
God. Request. So you're making a request in a servile tense. So you're asking humbly. When you say please, like I could say, hand me that notebook. I'm making a request. But if I say Baba Quasha, or if I say please, would you mind if you could hand me that notebook? Now I'm making a humble request. Right? Like that's why but it's just that it's making a humble request. You know what I mean? You add a ha at the end of Bakwash, and now it's a humble request. All right. And then ba at the beginning, it just ends. So in humble request. All right. Well, I forget why we went to that. What was we talking about?
I did you do those? No, I did you those. Just bringing up with brothers. If they was getting it wrong or understanding what you were saying or something.
Oh yeah. Kind of the water. Yeah, and that's like, but that's because we think it means please. Please, I don't think please is in the Bible. Like I went looking for it. I probably didn't look hard enough, but from what I looked at, it's not in the Bible. But we use it in English. In English, we use it as please because of the oral passing down of the language orally. So you first come into truth, you hear the priest say, Khan, Kawada, La'a, Baba Kasha. You know what I mean? And you ask, what does Baba Kasha mean? They're just gonna be like, oh, it means please. I'm saying please. I'm asking. I mean, that's what they're gonna say. But the full breakdown is what I just showed you. But I was just saying that to say, like, it's just certain things that we just pass down certain things orally, and it leads to slight misunderstandings. But the only way to get the full scoop of the language is to write it and read it as well. Like, you might see brothers, use an English example. You might see brothers in the English, you know what I mean? What's the one that got brothers and sisters in a chokehold? There, and there. Two, and two. Your. When you see brothers, when we talk, and I say, hey, yo, your crown is black. You know what I'm talking about. and or if I say if I say you're speaking, you're about to speak, you're speaking next, right? You know what I'm talking about. But if you write it down, a lot of times brothers will use the wrong one in the wrong context. You know what I mean? And they be driving brothers and sisters up a wall. I really don't give a damn because it's our precious language anyway, and I know what the hell you're saying. But that's just an example of like when you pass something down orally versus when you write it or read it, you kind of get a little bit more of an understanding of what's being said or what's being intended, right? And that's a big part of learning the language. All right. Okay, pictographs. We got, it ain't gonna be too much longer, but I do want to go into this real quick. So each character has a pictograph. I'm gonna use the ancient Hebrew. All right. I know we typically learn in the Assyrian because we read the Assyrian a lot in the, you know what I mean, especially their Sabbath service. But I'm going to the ancient because this is where the pictographs come from. The ancient Hebrew. So, Ba, Ga, Salak. Y'all got to write this here. Da. All right. Abagada. Ha. Ha. Wa. Za. Ha. Ha. Ya. A lot. Trying to remember these off the top of my head.
Been a while.
Huh?
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. And we probably should I'm gonna see if I try to I go to the I just use the Assyrian because we use it, we read it most often. So that's what and then brothers kind of shy away from it because it's a little bit more complicated than the ancient Hebrew. But you do want to practice reading and writing in the ancient as well. Because again, this is where the pictographs come from, right? And just for the lack of space. So again, if you're taking notes at home, I would advise you to write it in both. Or like, and this would be a good practice too, because a lot of times we go, if we come to that, or if we come to Lashawan Qadash class, a lot of times we'll take notes in Lashawan Qadash class and then lose them. Like we'll take notes and then you'll never see them notes again. You know what I mean? So what might be beneficial for brothers is to write down the Lashawan Qadash in the Assyrian when we teaching it in class, and then when we get out of class, go back to your notes and write it in the ancient, just so it'll help you review. It'll make sure you don't lose your notes, and you get to practice the ancient as well. So you're not leaving anything, you know what I mean, no stone unturned. All right. Kata yakala ma laki na. Na. Sa. I. All right. I'm gonna get rid of this for now. We know this, right? The post steps. Post steps. We already. I know we know this already. If you don't know it, you know what I mean. Just ask. You know what I mean. Just ask the question so we can go into it. Because I don't want to. Because it's on the board constantly. So if a brother don't know something, or if a brother don't know like prepositions, possessive, tenses, or the 4 steps, of something that's constantly on the board, I'm gonna assume you know it because it's constantly up here. But if you don't know, I'm not a mind reader. But just ask the question so that you can get the answer. All right. I Pa, all right. Pa, Kaza, Laki. This is crazy. Pa, Kaza, Kwa, Ra, Sha, and Ta. All right, we're gonna try to get through all of these. Try to get through all of these real quick. All right. So, right? So first of all, pictographs, right? All of these represent something. We're about to go through it, right? And this is always a good example. Is for Allah. You know what I mean? That's why the pictographs looks like this. The Hebrew evolved, you know what I mean? Our language was a pictographical language. It's a pictographical language. You know what I mean? And it evolved from, you know what I mean, drawing. So I think originally the looked like this. Looked like what does it look like? I'm not a Salaki.
Like a cow head.
Done. That's exactly what that is. Have you gone through this before? That was just off the top of your head.
That's the top of my head. It's the first time you're going over this.
You're right. You're right. It's a cow's head. So what does a lot mean?
A lot? So you just say cow.
Done. Done. Cow. Right? And, you know what I mean? Because we are militant people, I mean, it's tedious. You got to draw every single character. You try to say something. You try to write a letter to somebody. You try to say something to somebody quick. You doing all this drawing. So eventually it went from this to this. So this is just a simplified version of this. So that's why the looks like this. And what else does this look like?
Your A, sideways.
That's where the A comes from in English. And you'll notice a lot of these words, a lot of these characters, you recognize in the English.
It just cleans it up, I guess, what they want to call it.
The English is a culture vulture language. Like their language, they got Italian root words, French root words, German, Latin, Russian, I already said French, Hebrew, Greek, all of these, they got all these different origins because the language is a mixture of a whole bunch of different cultures and languages, all brought together. All right. So ba, right? I gave it to you earlier. But ba is the bayat. House. The ba is the floor plan of a tent. That's that pictograph represents. I believe initially it looked like this. Like it was like this. It was like that or something like that. I think that's what it might have looked like. I have to double check. But again, the language and the characters evolved over time to make it more practical. All right. God. Gamal. This one should be easy. Gamal. Camel. So this is the hump of a camel. All right. Just Gamal. That's the God. Right. Da is Dalat. all right, which is door, all right, door, which is why the da looks like this, right? The front door of a tent, right? Which is why it's triangular, right? And then also, this is where da wa da comes from. Da wa da. So it's two das on top of each other, one inverted. So da wa da. Wa means and or to add, right? So da and da, right? So da and a da, right? That's where da wa da comes from, right?
Okay, that's a that's a P there. It's a lot.
A lot, yeah, a P. All right. The locked door. Ha is Hana. All right. And this is again, this is why it's important to know these. This is an excellent teaching tool and an excellent study tool. Knowing these pictographs. Because you learn the history, you learn that our language evolved from it was a pictographical language. It evolved from a very detailed pictographs to more general and straight to the point. And then you learn these root words. So when you see them in the scriptures, you're able to identify. So like Hana is one of those words that you see often. Like if you see and lo, or look, or behold, it's Hana. Right? Or see. Like if somebody says see, like see that, see this. You know what I mean? It comes from it. This will be the Hebrew word, Hana. So Hana just means behold. Right? Behold. This comes from like a hand. Like a let me see, it's another word too. Let me use that one. Let me go ahead and use that one. And again, another reason why this is a good teaching and learning tool. This is a good teaching and learning tool because some of these have more than one. So, Salakia, Hana means to behold, like look, right? Behold, or Hada, right? So Hana means behold, and Hada means to put forth hand. To put forth your hand. I don't have room to put it up here, but Hada means to put forth your hand, which is why this pictograph right here looks like this. It's a hand putting forth. You know what I mean?
So Hada is what? What's the definition of Hada?
To put forth hand.
So to put forth hand.
Right. You see any of these words though? Like now you just added 6 root words to your vocabulary, and you're learning these like with a purpose. Like a lot of times when brothers and sisters learn a language, it's tedious because you just like, okay, how do you say this? How do you say this? How do you say this? And then you get all these words, and then you end up forgetting a lot of them because there's no rhyme or reason to why you're learning these words. It's just, what is this? What is this? What is this? Or you end up like in Spanish class or like any language class, they break it up into topics. It's like, okay, today we're gonna be going over like words that pertain to winter, or per word that pertain to like food, words that pertain to body parts, words that pertain to, you know what I mean, things you'll see in the classroom, things you'll see in the street, in the city, things, you know what I mean, things like that. But even that can kind of get tedious, you know what I mean? But that's why they do that. They break it up and they break up this language into topics so that you learn with intention and purpose. But this right here is giving you that same intention and purpose, but it's not, you know what I mean? It's not secluding you to a particular topic. Because a lot of times when we learn a language as well, uh, like again, I use Spanish because you know most brothers and sisters took Spanish in high school. But you know what I mean, you end up leaving high school and don't know how to speak Spanish. Why? Because because they secluded you to these goofy topics. It's like all you know how to do is say como donde está baño. That's all you know how to say. Where is the bathroom? Donde está biblioteca, library. And that, you can't use that in practical conversation. You know what I mean? But this gives you the you know what I mean, a way to learn root words with intention and purpose, and you cover various topics. You know what I mean? So it's not so tedious to where now you learned all these words about you know what I mean, classroom words, but you can't use those words outside the classroom. You know what I mean? You can't use those words, you know what I mean, in a war situation. Like if we was at camp, you can't say you're not gonna be at camp and somebody, you know what I mean, somebody breaching the camp, you say, oh, the only, you know what I mean, the only thing you can say is, where's the bathroom? You know what I mean? Like that's not, you're not gonna be able to use that in a practical setting. But you learn these words, now you know how to say, you know what I mean, now you know how to say cow, now you know how to say house, now you know how to say camel. And a lot of these words, not to be too long-winded, but a lot of these words also pertain to other things. Remember, our language is built off of, or a lot of words is built off of other words. So I believe gamal, the word for camel, is also the word for travel. Why?
You travel on a camera.
Because that's simple. And that's how a lot of these words are built. You know what I mean? All right, so let's move on. So wa is wa. Or I gotta ask, I'm gonna put this for now. Wow. I can't remember if it's wah or wall. But either way, it's hook. A hook, like a fish hook, something that you would use for fishing, which is why the wah looks like this. Let me turn it on the side. This would be the handle, like that joint that what's that dude name? The damn superhero, the fish dude. But he got that stick.
He got that stick, yeah. What's that?
You know what I mean, you use
Aquaman?
that. Yeah, Aquaman. Yeah, he used the stick to. You know what I mean? That's what this is. It's a fish hook, and it's also the word for end, because you can get a lot of with this fish hook. You can get a lot of fish. You get your fish, and you look at it. It's like, okay, I got this fish, and this fish, and this fish, and this fish. Right? You just add them to your hook. So that wa means and or to add.
It's like it. So there's you says NAW.
So like a wa, is WAW.
Or W.
So it's two Y's next to each other.
Or WAW.
I can't remember off the top of my head if it's pronounced wah or wall. I can't remember. But if you see it in the scriptures,
Wow.
It'll just look like that.
Wow.
Or if you read it in the ancient, it'll look like this.
So your name is Wow. I know when we read the scriptures, I know we G-A-W be cow.
Con.
So I don't know if this would be a wow.
Con.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, it's one of the two. I can't remember which one it is, but it's that same concept though, with that like gall. Wow. It's a hook, right? Za, we just went over this one, right? Abon, Zion. You remember what Zion? Or
Stone.
no, Abon is stone.
Oh, yeah. He's stone.
Added in. Zion, right?
You hear me?
Zion means what? You know what his name means?
His name is, one guy named me Stone.
Stone.
Stone, yeah. Zion. Stone. Amon means stone. Zion. I know Zion means
Zion,
stone.
weapon.
Weapon, yeah, weapon.
Weapon.
Zion means weapon.
Uh, all right. Zion, weapon. And that's what this is. It's a weapon. All right. Then Ka, this is for Ka, Wa, Ma. Ka, Wa, Ma. Ka, which is wall or fence. I just put wall because it's shorter, but it also can mean fence. So a fence is a type of wall. All right, and that's what this is. Kawama. This pictograph is a fence. Right? And a lot of these words you're gonna see in the scriptures. And it'll give you confidence too. Like you'll see them in the scriptures and you'll be like, oh, I know this one because it's a pictograph. Or I know this one because it's my brother's name. Or I know this one because this doesn't for various reasons. And then eventually it's gonna build your confidence in reading it. And you know what I mean? Things like that. All right. He's about to I heard the mic. All right. Next, ta na ah. Tana'a. Tana'a is basket. What you would translate to a bag today. It'll be a modern day bag. Right? And that's why this top looks like that. Because it's the bottom of a basket. Right? Like Deuteronomy 28. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. You look at that word 9 times out of 10 is gonna be tara, right? Ya, all right. Another one we should know. Ya. This is yad, the word for ya means yad yom mata.
Raise.
No. What are we telling you to do when we say yad yom mata? Put your what down?
Name.
So yad means hand. Hand. And that's what this pictogram is. It's a hand. It's like a hand attached to like the arm. Right. Ka. Ka.
What's the right name again?
Bless.
Bless. Right, bless. So bless hands.
Uh, absolutely. And that's a good place to start learning the Hebrew. But like if brothers, like I know brothers learn different. Like not I know a lot of brothers, like a lot of times, like I'm one of the brothers. I have a hard time reading. So a lot of times, like when I'm reading, I'm studying, I need like guided reading. So I gotta hear it rather than look at the words. Yeah. Or I need a brother, I need to read it out loud, or I need to read it to a brother so that he can, because a lot of times, like especially with the different way the language is spoken in the Bible, you could read something, and General Muhammad points this out all the time. A lot of times when brothers read the scriptures, they'll read it in a way where if they emphasize a certain word, it changes the meaning of the scripture completely. So a lot of times when I'm reading, I need to hear another brother read it so they can show me where I'm, you know what I mean? I might be emphasizing something that's not necessary. Like a lot of times, Jerome Muhammad says this often, also. A lot of times, brothers will just add a comma, which means a pause. So we'll just add a pause where there's no pause.
I'm another block of y'all, dude.
Huh?
So I'm another block of y'all.
Oh, most of that's great.
Like working on stuff, fixing stuff.
Yeah.
Working on cars and stuff like that.
Most of that's great.
That's hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I did. That's what I did in the military. Anyway. It's a mechanic.
So where was I going with this? But oh yeah, okay, the different learning styles. So I said all that to say, I know brothers got different learning styles. Like I know it might be tedious. Like when I first came in, I sat down and I like honed in on the Hebrew because I figured it was gonna be difficult because it's a new language. So I'm like, I have to like make this a priority. You know what I mean? Because I read English, so I can read the Bible and ask my questions in English, but I thought the Hebrew was going to be the most tedious thing to do, so I just focused in on it. But a lot of brothers, it's hard for them to just like sit down and focus in on this thing by themselves without being in class or, you know what I mean, blowing up a brother's phone, which is absolutely fine. If you got a question on the Hebrew, give me a call. You know what I mean? Shoot me a text, ask the question. If I don't have the answer, I'll get the answer. But I mean, a lot of times, like brothers can't just like sit down and just write, sit down and just read the Hebrew just like that. So for that type of brother, a good way to learn the Hebrew is just ask brothers what their name is, what their name means, and that's what I did. Like I asked the brothers in the zone, what your name means. Oh, this means this. Okay, and then I'll meet a brother online or in a different zone, and I'll see his name. And if I can't reach out to him and ask him what his name means, I started getting in the dictionary and just looking up the name. And then you kind of get an idea of what the intention of that word is for that name. So like, and then you kind of you can kind of put it together. Then you ask the brother, you know what I mean, what his name is. And then after that, I just start trying to guess. Like I'll hear a brother's name and I'm like, oh, this means this. Like, hey, that's a heavy name. Like some brothers got some, all the brothers, don't get me wrong, all the brothers got some heavy names, but like you find out what some of these brothers' name mean. Like I was looking at I was doing the same thing I usually do. When I meet a brother, I'll just look up what his name is. Or I'll just ask him. This particular brother, I wasn't in reach to ask him, but I saw his name. It's Captain Napataza out of Cincinnati, right? I saw his name, and I was like, what is that? His name is Napataza Al-Aban. And I know Aban means stone, but I was like, okay. And I was like, what the hell? So I looked it up. His name means to dash over a stone. Like in Psalm, I believe it's Psalms 139, and the last verse. And it says, when King David says, happy shall they be when they dash their little ones over the stone. And I looked his name up. I was like, God damn. Like, what kind of brother you gotta be to get a name like that? Like, what did the men above him see? Like, young man, you will no longer be known as this in the world. Your name is Dash over the stones. There gotta be a stone cold brother. But you know what I mean? But that's how you can learn the language. Like, if it's tedious to just sit there and read and write and be in class for 2 hours, you can just ask brother, what's your name mean? What's your name mean? And then you'll learn root words like we're going over right now. And then you'll learn the root words, and you'll learn how to use the resources. You'll learn how to use the resources, and you'll also learn how words are used in particular ways, depending on its intention. Right. So, but that just, you know what I mean. That's just another way to learn. You know what I mean. And it's an easy way. It's a brotherly way to learn. You know what I mean. You find out what brother name means. You find out the spirit behind his brother's name. You know what I mean, it's just, I ain't gonna talk in circles. But okay, moving on. I'm trying to get through this. What time is it? Oh, all right. I'm glad I checked the time. All right, we're gonna pick up. Right here next week. All right. So we're gonna finish this out. We're gonna do the possessives, and then Lord willing, Lord allow, we got some time. We'll go into those conjugations like we was talking about at the beginning of the class. But with that, say Imadium, which means to stand. We'll give a courtesy salute to the brothers. To Israel, Mother Shabbat, Imadium, Barak, Yad Yom Sar, the turn face sisters, give a courtesy salute to the sisters. To Israel, Mother Shabbat, Imadium, Barak, Yad Yom Dismissed.